Right, quite a while ago I did a little series of videos going through my collection and talking about them, experiences I'd had with them, and I didn't include in that a gun that's very dear to my heart, my having owned it since the early 1990s, and that's my Gamo PR-45. Well, what I wanted to do here was do a comparison, the PR-45 versus the Compact, which is the competition version. Is more kind of a pony club gun than an out-and-out Olympic class pistol, but I've got to say I do like mine, very impressed with it. I've had it for a couple of years now, so I just thought I'd run through the features of them both and then look at, is the Compact worth the extra money? Having gone through that website, I'm not going to name them because they do not deserve any advertising. The cheapest PR-45 I can find brand new, 125 quid. Cheapest Compact I can find brand new, 185 quid. So is the Compact worth that extra 60 quid? Let's find out. Now, when my PR-45 came to me all those 30 years ago, it was in a cardboard sleeve. There's a manky bit of polystyrene, but I will admit I've only recently thrown it away, so it lasted. Was it the best of cases? Was it a nice plastic case? No, it wasn't. But you know what? Did it really matter to me at that time as a kid of, not going to say how old? Not really, no. I was more interested in the gun than the box it came in, and to be honest with you, I'm amazed I even kept the box. So, PR-45, very basic trigger, safety catch, pretty basic but works very well. Grips, yeah, there's nothing really anatomical about them. They're not bad, but when you've got great big hands like me, they're not brilliant. But do you know what? They do the job. Operation is by push the button in at the back, lift, top lever, cocking lever up, single stroke pneumatic, get that nice little hiss, and then push all the way down. Checking first, there's definitely no pellet. No, there's definitely no pellet. Now that is the Achilles heel of this gun. You do have to put quite a bit of effort into cocking it, and in competition, yeah, your hand does start getting a bit tired compared to the PCP brigade. It's a bit of a pain, but you know, for the money you're saving, you're basically talking a tenth of the price really, aren't you? So anyway, the trigger, I'm going to dry fire it, and you can dry fire single stroke pneumatic guns all you like, there's no problem with that. I am in the lounge, but as we've just proven, the gun is empty, so the trigger is kind of a two-stage. So you pull, there's kind of a spongy spring there, and then there you go, fires. Not a bad trigger, not brilliant, but not bad. So, brings me on to the Compact. Comes in this nice case with very cheap latches, but they haven't broken yet. And there she is in all her slab-sided glory. We have a little tin of Gamo pellets there, pistol cup. Now these pellets, pistol cup precision, forgive me, these pellets are really good. They are very good. Never been able to find them anywhere to buy another tin of them, so I'm kind of holding on to these. Other pellets it does well with, doesn't do badly with the Gamo Match Classic Training, that's not bad. And the always inevitable, and I think possibly my favourite 177 target pellet, the Excite Econ 2 from H&M. I mean, when I bought these from JS Ramsbottom, they were £2.99 a tin. I mean, £2.99 a tin of 500. You can't argue with that, can you? You've seen the results they give in the Lightning, and they're just really good, really accurate pellets. So the gun itself, you get this lovely slab of walnut there on one side. On the other side, it is actually quite ergonomic, shaped quite nicely there. A lot of people criticise the hand, what do you call it, the scales on these, and say that basically it's just a slab of wood and it's not very ergonomic. Maybe if you've got oddly shaped hands, small hands, it's not great, but for me, I've got to admit, it's perfect. shooting single-handed, you don't need any texture over this side. All you need is that cut out there, and you're straight in. You've got a perfect thumb shelf there, comes around onto that ledge. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant, no problem there whatsoever. Trigger on it, again, it is two-stage. It's kind of a match style trigger. Another Achilles heel of these little guns, the compacts when they come from the factory, the spring in this trigger is crazy heavy. The trigger on these is atrocious from the factory. Very simple mod that you can do though. You just whip it off this scale. Screws are this side though, confusingly. And you replace the spring inside of there with one from just a set that you buy, a cheap set of springs. I'll put a link to a video in the description. I could do a video on how to do it myself, but there is a really good video already out there. I'll just put a link to that. Ignore the first part where he's polishing the sear because, as he proves, it doesn't really do much. Changing the spring is the most important part. Right, identical to the PR-45. Push the button in at the back. Bring it forward, little hiss. Now, this gun does have one minor little foible to it, and that is when it's been sat for a while, you'll pull the lever all the way out, the cocking lever, top of the, well, the barrel section, whatever you want to call it, and there's no resistance whatsoever. Close it, there's no resistance. You have to then pull the trigger to sort of release the valve mechanism, whatever, and then the next time you cock it through, it will actually charge properly. I don't know why it does it. It's very odd, but it doesn't seem to have suffered for it. Just something that you've got to remember each time. Again, cock it through. Now, I must admit, it's slightly easier on this gun than on the PR-45. No idea why, but just is. Again, no pellet in it, so excuse me. Let's try that trigger. As I said, this trigger is lightened compared to how it would be from the factory. So you pull, there's the first stage, there you go. I mean, you can see that. That is a really, really good trigger now, and the only mod was changing that springs, which cost pence and a bit of time. Right, pretty blatant bit of editing going to happen now because I started coughing towards the end of that last scene. So yeah, apologies for that. I had to go off and get some water. Right, sights on the two guns. There we go. They are identical. There's no difference between the sights on them. This doesn't have match grade sights, nothing like that. Absolutely identical. Now, if you have a PR-45 and you're thinking to yourself, well, compact, yeah, it looks virtually identical. Surely I can just buy compact parts and swap them over. You've got to swap out basically everything from here down, including this part here. It's all totally different here. You can't just buy these grips and put them on. All the frame's different. It just doesn't work out economically viable. For the price, if you were looking at upgrading, it's worth getting the compact because, as I say, unless you're pretty nifty and you can find out some way of actually grafting onto this, maybe plastic weld or something onto it to give yourself adjustable palm shelf, blah, 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 it's not worth it, really. And to be honest with you, as we'll get on to, this gun does shoot really well already, so it's just not worth it. Right, well, we've spoken through the features, pretty much. The only thing I will also point out on the compact is, so, PR-45, safety catch. No safety catch on the compact. Now, you could argue on target guns, the safety catch is supposed to be the person doing the shooting and their brain. For myself, yeah, okay. For other people, am I confident in them? Not necessarily, having been in some pretty sticky situations in competitions. It would have been a good thing to have had a safety catch. It's a manual safety catch, not automatic, so it's not that obtrusive. But of course, because it's got this feature here, where your trigger finger actually goes through. There we go, keeping my finger away from the trigger, as is the rules. And yeah, so let's just pop it through, yeah. You can see, if you had a safety catch there, you're not going to get that nice positioning onto the trigger blade. Just not going to happen. So yeah, short of totally redesigning the gun, which would have cost them a fortune, I don't really see much they could have done there. So that's the two guns. They're both 177, both fire flathead pellets. This gun, whenever I've tried Diablo pellets through it, they stick in the barrel. The other thing I'll say is, when I was a kid, I was a right bell end, and I used to do all sorts of stupid stuff with this gun, including, and I cringe when I think back and think that I did this, I'd get little bits of grit and fill the barrel with it and put a pellet in the end and shoot the gun, thinking that that would somehow create like a shotgun effect. And just why kids with guns, don't let your kids have nice guns, simple as that. And if you are going to let them have guns, supervise them, because just kids, even kids who are relatively sensible, like I'd like to think myself was, they do some pretty stupid stuff. But anyway, it hasn't hurt it one little bit. This gun shoots really well still. Has it been fault-free in 30 years? I mean, 30 years for God's sake, no. The only thing it did do was the spring, which you actually change in the Compact to improve the trigger, and which I could do a changing in this one, to be honest. It snapped. I still can't work out why. It just snapped. The trigger stopped working, and we sent it back to the shop that it came from, and they fixed it. They just replaced the spring. It was back up and running again. Perfect. The other thing it did was, when it had been sat for, I'd have said 5 years without having been used at all, when I came to shoot it, it just wouldn't actually charge at all. Just, you'd stroke, you know, do the single stroke pneumatic cocking sequence, and it just didn't charge, didn't fill the cylinder. So thought, oh, am I going to have to strip this down, replace seals, whatever. I just tried dribbling a bit of oil onto the actuator, lever, piston, whatever. Well, it's not a piston. Just onto this piece here. Just thinking, well, maybe if a seal's dried out, that'll lubricate it and it'll be, you know, give it a chance. And do you know what? It worked. And the gun was back up and running immediately, and has been absolutely fine ever since. So just goes to show. Very, very good gun. Good gun. Right, let's get on to the embarrassing part. How did I get on shooting it? Right, first off, that is a group from the PR-45 shot holding it two-handed, cop style, like that, just to give it the best chance. And that's using those £2.99 a tin pellets. Now that is a NSRA Air 8 target being shot at 6 yards. And I will add into the equation that I shot it tonight, I'm pretty tired and I haven't had my tea yet and I'm a bit grumpy. So there we go. I don't think that's too bad really. I don't think that's bad at all. Shot single-handed, proper target style, it opened up a bit. Now also, these are high because I did have a fibre optic sight on the front there, which totally changed the sort of angle the gun shot at. I took that off to make it an absolute fair comparison here, because obviously the Compact doesn't have a fibre optic, and because in competition you wouldn't be allowed to use that sort of sight. So just thought I'd make the comparison there. And it's not bad for, what, £125 gun. I don't think it cost £125 back in the 90s. I think more like 80 quid, if that. Not bad at all. Compact. Shot single-handed. There we go. Yeah, so that group, single-handed, is the same size as the Compact's group, double-handed. So yeah, I think you can start to see where the better ergonomics, better trigger, etc. all starts to come into it. Much better, yeah. So, what's the vending sort of conclusion here? Well, It's 60 quid. I mean, if you're saving up for it and you want a competition gun and you're going to shoot it single-handed in competitions, then yeah, it's worth saving up for the Compact. If you just want a gun for sort of having fun with, you're not going to compete with it. You're going to shoot it double-handed because, remember, in competition you've got to shoot single-handed, but if you're having fun, shoot it how the hell you want. You've got to go a long way, in my experience, to beat the PR-45 as just a fun gun to just enjoy owning. And at the price, I think they're a bargain personally. And this one, as I say, 30 years of ownership, and I still love it as much now as I did when I was a kid. I just wish I took better care of it back then. But has it really punished me for not having took care of it? No, it's been a really good gun. Crikey, I'm looking at the timer. This is a long episode, so I hope you stuck with me and didn't get too bored along the way. Right, if you enjoyed the episode, if you could do me a favour and like, share and subscribe, that'd be brilliant. If you didn't enjoy the episode, by all means drop a little comment, say why. If you want to dislike the video, okay, go for it, but just give me a reason why, so then I can improve for next time. Alright, take care all, cheers, bye.